This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt is taking the day off, so today I am your KTAR car guy. We're heard here every Saturday from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you got car questions, I guarantee we've got answers, and I'm saying we because I've got the guys from Curt's Auto Repair in to help me help you with your car. So we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text your questions to 411-923. And today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, we've got an email of the week. We take emails at bumpertobumperradio.com. We're going to take open phones and text in summertime repairs. And Curt, I've got Curt Rock from Curt's Auto Repair. Everyone in the shop calls him Pops.
Yeah, that's what they call me.
I'm starting to refer to him as Pops also. And then we've got Eric, which is your son-in-law, correct?
Yes, sir.
Has he been a good son-in-law?
Well,
I won't answer that.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He really is.
Well, I thought it was interesting because I stopped by your shop this week and I walked up and there was a Suburban in the first bay and Eric was working on it and a big smile on his face and the entire dashboard was laying in the back of the vehicle. And I couldn't help but say, I hope you can get that back together.
That's a lot of work just to put a water pump in. I told him not to do that.
Not to do that. The water pump's under the hood,
Yeah.
not in the car. So I thought it would be interesting to see, because you're on the lines every day, what are you actually fixing in the car? And Eric does a lot of the diagnostic work over at Curt's Auto Repair. You know, there's some guys that are real good at that kind of stuff, and Eric's good at whatever he does, but right now we got to use his brain for diagnostic, it sounds like. Over
Yeah.
there. But, and also the really finesse type stuff like taking a dashboard apart. Why are you taking the dashboard apart?
Well, most of the time it's because evaporators or heater cores are leaking, and they, make it all nice and fancy. It looks great, but somewhere they got to put all those pieces of machinery.
Yeah, you got to put it all in there. So people, we've got an email. I was just looking at it here before the show. This person has a 2003 Ford Focus with an AC problem. Took it into a shop. They replaced the AC compressor. Everything worked great for 3 months. It probably was not a cheap job. I would imagine it was expensive. And now it's blowing warm. Took it back into the shop. They put some more Freon in it, and they added some leak detection dye. 2 weeks later, it's blowing warm again, but they can't find the leak. And I don't think people realize the rest of the AC system is hidden in your dashboard. So that's what you were doing. You were doing the evaporative core. That's a big part of the AC system.
Yeah, and usually on a job like that, we run across it, come back 2 or 3 times. I mean, I hate to say it, but we'll charge it up, throw some dye in it. Let's see what happens. Comes back 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever time later. There's nothing there. And so we got a really, really tiny camera that we throw up in the dash and look around for any signs of that dye. And we found it. So
you guys are good. I didn't know you had a little camera. Little camera on a snake.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know my doctors used one of those before.
we use a different one, Dave.
Okay. So if you're having ongoing AC problems and you're like, every time I go back in there, they throw more Freon in it and it's some sort of leak. And what's really frustrating when you're in the auto repair business is you'll have a car come in and you'll see a gaping leak, and you'll fix it for the customer and you'll evacuate and recharge the system and you'll put dye in there and everything and it'll leave and they're happy, but they spent a bunch of money, and then they come back and they're upset at you. This is just a part of the AC we just can't see.
There's a bunch of that, and I believe it was you that made the remark that an AC job is usually, what did you say, a 2-trip or a 3-trip repair?
It's not a 1-trip,
Especially one that's been it quit working last October, and now it's March and it's getting hot, and they're just going to go get it charged up. That don't work.
Just go throw some Freon in it and it'll be good to go. Yeah, so I don't want you, if you're out there and you're having that experience, don't get mad at your mechanic. He's not doing anything wrong. It's
please.
Please be nice to us. But there's a leak that we just can't see. So the other things that you said, Eric, you worked on in the shop was you had something to do with an alternator. That's an interesting story. Tell me what happened there.
Well, that one, it came in. The customer was complaining about a check engine light shifting really goofy. And I don't remember if they complained about it, but we started up, we noticed this huge growly hum. and you throw it in park or coming out of park, reverse, neutral, without moving. The speedometer gauge all of a sudden starts jumping all around and does all kinds of crazy things. Well, we know that AC voltage, which is inductive,
Right.
spikes and everything in the system, cause it. So you go over and unplug the alternator, noises go away, the codes go away. So, I mean, that's one of those things where, fortunately, it did all kinds of crazy things, but it was just an alternator that had a bad diode in it, which throwing AC voltage.
You said that was that a PT Cruiser or Pacifica?
Pacifica.
Pacifica. So I've seen that. We get them at the transmission shop all the time. People bring in these cars and they swear they got a transmission problem. And usually the phone call goes like something like this. Yeah, I'd like to find out how much money for a new transmission in my Pacifica. And they're looking for that big number so they can just resolve it in their mind. And I say, well, how do you know you need a transmission? Well, I know I do. I've talked to some people and I've read some stuff online. I need a transmission.
Right, reading online.
Reading online. I call that Google Gnostics. Yeah. so and I say, well, just give me the worst case. I said, well, the worst case is you buy a transmission you don't need. They come in and guess what? It's an alternator problem. And we fix transmissions with batteries, not uncommon, with alternators, because it's an electrical system, and if something in the system is bad, it's going to screw everything up. And we talked, summertime, you guys said 5, on average, whether it be December or July, 5 batteries a week.
Yeah, at least that. And then there are days that you do a lot more than 5, and it's just that the extremes just put our batteries to the test. And the nice thing about it is if they last through the summer, then the first cold morning we get to replace them then.
Yeah, cold or hot, it's not good on batteries. So you also did a condenser fan this week?
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's when you get to 115 degrees and if you got a fan, a lot of vehicles have 2 fans or a multi-speed fan. The 2 fans, if one's working, it'll keep the temperature of the car normal, but the AC just isn't as cold as it should be, and so
kicks in, and we got an email like that. Also, you did a radiator. That sounds appropriate for summertime. I just wanted to bring up all the things that people are going to the shop for, and a lot of stuff you can get by on a weak condenser fan in December and March. It's listen, if you enjoy the temperature, your car does too. If you hate the temperature, your car does too.
Yeah.
It puts everything to the test. So radiator, alternator, condenser fan. You did a couple oil changes in there, but usually you don't like to do those, right?
That's the dirty work.
That's beyond you. What other interesting things did you see in the shop this week? Anything that comes to mind?
Well, the first thing this morning before we headed down here, we had 3 or 4 diags to do, and one was a growling noise at a freeway speed. You can probably guess which wheel bearing it was. It was one of the front ones on that. And we do a lot of that type of stuff. There's just tons of diag, lots and lots of check engine lights. We are replacing, Eric looked at one before we left, evap leak. We're finding lots of problems on top of tanks. We got 2 or 3 in the shop right now.
On top of fuel tanks.
Yeah, and it's either going to be rollover valves. The Colorado's a rollover valve, ain't it, Eric?
Yeah, the Colorado. And unfortunately, all these newer stuff, they're starting to put all these built into the tanks. So you end up buying a $600 or $700 or $800 fuel tank if you can still get it.
Oh, our job. Kurt and I went to lunch the other day. We were talking about auto repair, and we said, if we took a shop owner out of a shop from 15 years ago.
You said 20, Dave.
Okay, 20. Call me out. From 20 years ago, and we time warped him into today's shop, and we just said, hey, run things. He would be so lost because we see this stuff incrementally change year after year after year. But it's so dramatically different. So the things that, Grandpappy used to tell you about working on the car, that stuff is all gone. So with summer going on, you guys are there's a very good chance you're going to be faced with a battery replacement. And at our shop, we carry Interstate Batteries because it's a brand that's been around for 50, 60 years. Everyone knows them. It's the #1 replacement brand that's out there. So if you're in, batteries aren't all the same. You want to stick with a good battery, and I found Interstate to be a great battery. And, if your battery's more than 2 or 3 years old, chances are it's not going to last a whole lot longer. So you want a good battery. It's not convenient when they go out. And Interstate, you can find them on our website, bumpertobumperradio.com. You can click there to find a shop that carries Interstate Battery. When we come back, we got open phone lines. We've got John, Dave, and it looks like Warren. When we 602-277-5827. You're listening to Bumper to Bumper Radio.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, oh yeah, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Who can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen from Virginia Auto Service, who's normally together with me, he is taking the day off. So I've asked Curt Rock from Curt's Auto Repair at Bell Road and basically pretty close to I-17.
Yes, sir.
And we've got his son-in-law, Eric, in with us, who does a lot of the diagnostic work at Curt's Auto Repair. So we are here to help you with your car, and you get a hold of us at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923. And I'm going to get right to the phones. We're going to go with John in Chandler. Looks like he's got a 2006 GMC Yukon. Hey, John, you're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. What can we help you with today?
Well, thanks for taking my call, guys.
You bet.
Yeah, so like you said, I have a 2006 GMC Yukon, and I've noticed probably in the last 6 months, I have a problem starting it. It's kind of intermittent. Sometimes it starts up fine and runs fine. Other times it'll turn over and turn over and turn over and won't start. I'll turn it back off and turn it back on, and it starts right up.
Do you notice that after the car's been sitting for a long time, like overnight, or you ran into the grocery store for 15 minutes to pick up some hot dogs and you're headed right back out? Can you tell the difference?
I want to say this: if I do see the problem, it's when it's been sitting for longer periods of time. If it seems like if I turn it off, if I run it and then turn it off, and then a couple minutes later or whatever, turn it back on, it starts right up.
Okay. Well, I think I got some ideas. Eric, I want to see if you have any ideas on that thing.
Well, there's two common problems actually on these things. Depends upon which fuel system they had. This was a kind of a blend year. They had returnless and the regulated return systems. The regulators were a common problem. They would leak fuel into the intake and then flood them up on a startup. They also had weak check valves in the fuel pumps that were causing slow pressure builds after they sat for a while. So then it would give you that long crank time.
For sure. Now, maybe one of the things you can do, John, just a test that you can do is, let's say the car's sitting overnight and you think it's going to be a long, slow crank or long crank situation. Get in the car, when you turn the key forward, don't turn it all the way till you hit the starter. Just turn it to the run position, and you're going to hear a little from the back of the truck. You hear a little That's the fuel pump running. And then go ahead and cycle it back to off, and then back to on again, and it kind of primes that fuel system, because he's mentioning a check valve, and that's a one-way valve in the tank that keeps that fuel system primed up so you don't have to go through that long crank thing. And if it fires right up, well, hey, we may be on the right path as far as that going on. So if you need a good shop, you can go to bumpertobumperradio.com. If you got a great shop, stick with them. A good mechanic's hard to find. You don't want to go anywhere else if you've got a good relationship. So I think you got it, Eric. And let's go to Dave in Chandler. Looks like he's got a transmission question. How can we help you, Dave? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. Yes, I have a 2008 Toyota Prius, and they tell me that I don't need to change the radiator fluid or transmission fluid at all, basically, unless, unlimited. And it's got now about 7 years old, got about 90,000 miles on it, and I've never had a car that said, don't change your radiator fluid or transmission fluid. So I'm wondering, do I ignore the manufacturer's specifications and go ahead and change it? Don't worry about it, because I took it to the dealer, and the dealer said, everything's fine.
Don't change anything? Well,
Don't change.
Well, I guess I would. There is a lot of manufacturers that say don't change the transmission fluid. You know,
It's a CVT transmission, so it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's not even really quite such a CVT. I had one in my shop here the last week. There's really not much in them. It's a planetary gear and a couple of electric motors. There's not much in there. So that recommendation for the CVT or not for the Prius would be different in that aspect. As far as the radiator fluid, I don't know that sounds like a very good idea. What are your thoughts, Eric?
It gets heated and cooled, and it's got a chemical balance that you've always got to keep in line. I mean, would you go 90,000 miles without ever changing oil? I don't think so.
I don't think you would. Kurt, you got any thoughts?
Well, it's the same old thing. Most of his warranties are all over now, so it's.
Well, actually, I have it until 100,000 miles now.
Yeah, okay, but
I was covered there.
Yeah, but most of the time, that is a generic statement. Most everybody in this industry, even on the extended life coolants, they're thinking that by the time you get up around 100, you probably need to do something. A lot of us like to do it a little earlier just because, and at least have it tested to make sure that all the chemicals are in balance on it and it ain't acidic or something.
Well, yeah, that coolant definitely goes acidic. So I don't know if I like that. And I hear the recommendation, I'm just going to jump on the transmission bandwagon here for a second, is people say, I got a sealed transmission. You know, it's not meant to be serviced. Well, you know, I still have yet to see a sealed transmission. Okay, I still and I work on transmissions every day, and I hear that I have a sealed transmission. I hear it probably 10 times a week, and I still have not seen it. So it's sealed in the sense that they no longer gave you, the consumer, a dipstick where you could check the fluid. There still is a way to check the fluid, and that's done up underneath the transmission. So you got to check from underneath. So the manufacturers, they don't provide you a dipstick. Why the extra cost? You know, transmission fluid doesn't really go low unless there's a leak. So I get that. And then also they don't want, a lot of these guys are putting 100,000 miles on this transmission warranties. They don't want just anybody tweaking with it. So they wanted to take it away from the common consumer. But it's something, you guys do transmission services at your shop. Have you guys seen a sealed transmission?
No, we've seen some that are hard to get to, but that's it. I was just thinking, you're talking on that service, if they even put a dipstick tube on them, there's some ABC type shops that drop a straw down and suck out the fluid and put in the 4 quarts of the same, and a lot of times they can contaminate it by using the wrong fluid on that. So that's why they do that.
Well, when it comes to transmission service, you want to make sure you're working with a good shop, because a bad transmission service is worse than no transmission service at all. So they're expensive. You don't want to buy one. Okay, so that means you do want to service it, but that means you don't want to service it wrong. So you want to make sure you're working with a good shop. You can find a good shop at bumpertobumperradio.com. We're going to go a little further down to an 06 Nissan Titan. How can we help you on your Titan?
Yes. I had a question. My AC wasn't working very well, but I'm getting moisture on the passenger side of the cabin, and basically, I think I was wondering if the heater core has anything to do with the AC unit at all, because once that moisture was occurring, it seems like the AC is not working well.
Good deal. Well, I think you got the right guy. The guy's been taking apart the dashboards this week, so I'm gonna put you on hold, and we'll go ahead and let Eric go to town on that. What do you think? What do you think is going on there, Eric?
Well, my guess is that's a clear fluid and not a colored fluid. So that's actually going to be a plugged condenser or a drain tube, or evaporator drain tube. Wrong word, but anyways. And what happens is, because it builds up moisture in there, it can't transfer the heat properly through the evaporator. So basically, you need to find where the drain tube is plugged. We run a piece of mechanics wire through it if it's possible, pull the sticks out of it, pull the leaves out of it, pull out whatever got stuck in it, last night's dinner if you got a little sick.
Another great reason to change that cabin filter once in a while is so you don't get dirt and grime in on that evaporative core.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think, why do I need a cabin filter? Well, it's very important. So if you're looking at your car and it's in your driveway and the engine's running and the AC's on and the dew point has gotten up and you see that clear fluid dripping down there on the ground, don't worry, it's nothing super serious. It's the same fluid that you would see coming off your AC unit at home. So it's just condensation. So that cold coil is wringing the moisture out of the air, and it's got to come out of there. But there's an evaporative coil that gets very cold, and that's where we run the air across it, and then the condensation comes off the bottom of that, and there's kind of a scoop and a little tube that it goes out. And what we think's going on with your Titan is that thing is plugged up. And I didn't know mechanics. We had our own brand of wire. We have mechanics wire.
We call it mechanics wire.
Yeah, you can't use Balin wire. We're not farmers.
Our own brand of wire. That's fantastic. Well, you know what? I'm going to take a look at the text here. Let's see. Good morning, gentlemen. 2003 Infiniti i35 recharged the AC 2 months ago, and now the car is idling rough. Please tell me why. I don't know if I could do anything with that. Anything come to mind for you?
Well, more than likely on them Infinitis, they had the coil overs. I got a feeling they're not related, and Nissan's had a little trouble with them coils. My best bet would be either he's got a coil acting up, or he may even have some other thing going on, injectors or whatever, or he could just have a motor mount getting weak and he thinks it's rough. So he's probably going to have it checked.
You know, one of the things that happens, and people get their car in the shop and they get something fixed, and then something immediately happens, whether it be a week later, a day later, 2 months later, they immediately go back, well, I wonder if something went wrong. So it's an accurate thought. You know, maybe it's something related. And then in our business, we call that gentleman Everett since you.
Yeah.
Everett since you worked on my car. But in all seriousness, sometimes there's just coincidence. You know, hey, we worked on the AC, now your car rides rough. And then sometimes it's completely unrelated. So if you've got any questions or concerns about your car, maybe you got an estimate that you don't feel comfortable with, give us a call at 602-277-5827. Maybe you're living with a problem, an intermittent issue that's just driving you nuts, and no one can seem to fix it. You know, Eric is pretty good, so I'm going to put him on the spot. Give us a call. We got the guys from Curt's Auto Repair here to help you with your car. You can also text us at 411-923. You're listening to Dave and the guys from Curt's Auto Repair, Bumper to Bumper Radio, every Saturday from 11.
Do you love your hybrid? Yep, we did too. Hi, my name is Brian. We bought our Prius to help with my wife's long commute back and forth to work. We love the get up and go and the fuel economy. But 8 years later, our MPG was eroding and the zip was gone. We tried everything from tune-ups to new tires. The dealership's answer was that's just the way it goes with hybrids, and that we were probably looking at a new battery at the cost of $4,000 to $6,000. Sound familiar? We were lost. Then we found the hybrid shop at GoodWorks Auto Repair. They were able to condition our battery to like new for a fraction of the cost. The Zip and the 40-plus MPG is back. We're in love again with our Prius and the hybrid shop at GoodWorks Auto Repair.
Thanks for the kind words, Brian. Hi, Glenn Hayward for the hybrid shop at GoodWorks Auto Repair. Fall in love again with your hybrid. For details, go to goodworksautorepair.com.
The Lodge at Ventana Canyon is Tucson's premier golf, stay-and-play experience. Nestled in the foothills of Tucson's Santa Catalina Mountains is the award-winning Lodge at Ventana Canyon. We invite you to join us this summer and enjoy our unlimited golf stay-and-play packages starting at just $99 per person based on double occupancy. Enjoy the all-suite boutique 50-room facility with country club amenities which include 2 Tom Fazio designed golf courses, the Mountain and the Canyon, state-of-the-art fitness center, day spa, 10 lighted tennis courts, locker rooms with sauna, steam room, and jacuzzi, heated outdoor Junior Olympic-sized pool, as well as the new resort pool, which will complete construction this October. For more information about the Summer Unlimited Golf Package or other specials available, please visit our website at thelodgeatVentanaCanyon.com today. The Lodge at Ventana Canyon, your cool getaway this summer.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Curt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE MasterTechs can make for you and your family at Curt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Curt's.
Few cities are as car-centric as Phoenix, and this is the show that'll help you to better understand that machine you depend on to get around the valley. It's Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM and the KTAR app for Android and iPhone.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, and Matt Allen, my fearless co-host from Virginia Auto Service, is not with me today. He decided to be fearless and take the weekend off. I think him and his bride are up there in Sedona for some sort of work function.
You believe that?
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, I just wondered.
He's probably sitting on his patio laughing right now. Like that Dave had to go to work today. Yeah. So anyway, I brought in Curt Rock from Curt's Auto Repair. They're at I-17 in Bell. They are one of my favorite bumper-to-bumper shops. They are family run, so much so that Curt even lets his son-in-law work for him.
It's either that or I had to feed my daughter for the rest of her life.
That's true. So he taught Eric how to work on cars, and now Eric has surpassed us all. He does a lot of the diagnostic work there at Curt's Auto Repair. And you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com. A lot of people don't know. I mean, we are a radio show, and we do help you with your cars, but there's also a network of great auto repair shops. And like I said earlier, it's really hard to find a good mechanic. And if you're looking for a good mechanic, a place you can call home, someone you can get a relationship with, go to bumpertobumperradio.com. Hey, if you already got a great mechanic, stay there. I don't want to take, I don't want to be a homewrecker. I mean, if you got a great mechanic, stay there.
Yeah.
But if you need one and you're tired and you're what I call an orphan customer, in other words, you go here because I got a coupon from them in the mail, or you go over there because I got an email from them, but they don't really know you. I think the best way not to spend money needlessly is to go get a relationship. If they feel like they're just going to see you once, I don't know how good of a relationship you can really get started, and it's hard for them to know what you need as a person. I mean, as far as, some people want to take care of everything, some people want to do the bare minimum to keep that car on the road. So bumpertobumperradio.com. I'm looking here at one of the texts. This person has a 2005 Nissan Sentra with 87,000 miles on it. It's a 1.8 liter motor. And this car has a timing chain, which he's correct on that. And when should I replace the timing chain? Curt, what would you do on that one?
Well, on them timing chains, they're usually 150,000 miles with proper maintenance. But you always know when a chain is starting to get bad, because when you start it in the morning, you'll hear a little jingle, 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 and then it goes away. And that means that the tensioner is bleeding down, the chain, the guides are starting to wear, and there's extra looseness in that chain. So when you hear them warning signs, it's time to get serious.
Time to get a chain. And, our industry has gone back and forth. I mean, we had timing chains on everything.
Yeah.
Then we went to timing belts on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I drive a Honda out there, and it's got a timing chain on it. There's no belt in there.
Oh, I thought it had a chain that went from the pedals to the rear wheels.
It's actually, it's one of them Flintstone type of setups, but no longer do you have to put your feet actually on the pavement.
Oh, good.
Because they felt like the hole in the bottom of the car was dangerous.
Yeah.
So they went away from that. So we are going to go to Tina in Phoenix on a 2007 Chevy, and it got cut off. Tina, you have to let us know what kind of Chevy you have. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
It's a 2002 Chevy Monte Carlo.
2002 Chevy Monte Carlo?
Yeah.
And what's going on with your Monte Carlo that we can help you with?
It starts, it sounds perfect, and then it just dies.
Does it start right back up?
Yes, but it dies again. So it's odd because I've never had a car do that before.
Does it eventually start and you're able to go, or is it just it keeps doing that? And how long has this been going on?
It just started within the last month, and no, it does not go. It starts and dies, starts and dies.
And it's just been, you haven't been driving it, you just set it to the side?
Correct.
Any ideas there, Eric? Any questions for Tina?
My question would be, on the dash there should be a security symbol, either a little red light or a little key light. I'm wondering if something didn't act up with the security system, because that era GM had a lot of security problems, and that's the symptom, is they start, run fine for a second, and then die.
Have you had it into a shop at all, Tina?
I haven't, because I haven't been able to drive it.
Right. Well, it's going to be something you may have to just get it towed in to get it checked out. And I think they're going to look at, what would you be looking at if that car came into your bay, Eric?
Well, you're telling me it's got all the proper initial systems. It's got spark, it's got fuel, it's got signals. First thing I'd be going in is the computer and pulling codes, because either it's losing a cam or crank signal after it starts up, or like I said, something in the security isn't happy and it's shutting itself down.
Pulling codes. I'm just gonna expand upon that for a while. We say we have this shop lingo that we go by. We say things like diag, and they say, "What the heck is diag?" Well, that's diagnostic. It's when you go to the doctor and he says, "Hey, we're gonna take some blood and we're gonna do an MRI and we do this and that and the other." Diagnostic. When he's talking about pulling codes, the late model car, everything is run by computer, from the power seat to the engine, to the transmission, to the fuel pump. I mean, everything is run by computer. And the computer is always checking those components to see how they're doing. And it needs information from things like sensors. You mentioned cam and crank sensor. It needs information. And whenever the computer recognizes an error with the way something's working, well, if we're lucky, it sets what we call a diagnostic trouble code. And that's a nice starting point to say, okay, we got this big haystack and we got a needle in there, but it's somewhere in that bottom fourth. So start over there on that corner. So no-code diagnostic is a little bit more difficult, especially if we got a real intermittent issue, but her problem sounded real consistent. So that's something we could probably dial into pretty quick.
Yeah.
So thanks for the call, Tina. 602-277-5827. 602-277 KTAR. We're going to go with Leon in Scottsdale in a 1999 Jeep Grand Cherokee. How can we help you, Leon? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yes, good morning, fellas. How you doing? I have a problem with my AC compressor. It's not the compressor. I see that the AC clutch is wiggling and everything. I just want to know, would it be advisable to change the whole compressor or just go buy AC clutch and replace it? Because I do all my own work. The car is $287,000.
Well, that's a great question. What's your experience, Curt?
Well, the clutches are almost as much as a complete unit. I think out of the last 5 clutches I did, which has been many years since we've just done clutches, I think I've probably redone 4 of them because of when the clutch bearings get bad and they go out, they heat the nose of the compressor.
So that seal's going to go bad.
That seal's not long for this world. And so you go in there trying to save money and you end up costing. So I'd do a whole compressor.
Whole compressor. What about you, Eric? What's your feeling?
I'm going to venture along the same line. We come along times where they'll burn the clutch or the bearing and it'll start going bad. But like I said, we find the same thing, that usually shortly there, or people will be able to drive them long enough that the front of the cone's already all wet and it needs a compressor because it's already leaking then for sure. But it's not long before things happen.
Well, I would go for the whole compressor, sounds like, Leon. That is the consensus in the studio. We are going to go with Dan in Sun City. Looks like he's got a 2003 Toyota Camry. How can we help you, Dan? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Good morning, or good afternoon now.
We're almost there.
Yep. My problem is I have an issue with the power windows. 3 of the 4 windows all stopped working at the same time.
Well, I think just leave them up and just don't put them down. You'll be fine.
Well, it's worked so far, but it'd be nice to put them down once in a while.
Right.
The driver's window works fine, but the other 3 all stopped at the same time. I went through the manual, found all of the fuses, checked them all. They all seem to be fine.
Well, Eric's face looks pregnant with thought, so I think he might have an answer for you. So go ahead, Eric. What do you think's going on?
Well, if I look that bad, I'm sorry. The master window switch has got the override for all the other windows. Either one of 2 things. For some reason, that switch is stuck and you don't realize it, or the internal circuitry that controls that switch in the master window switches went bad. Basically, you don't have your power to the other 3 windows. My guess is either somehow that switch is stuck and you don't realize it, or the switch itself went bad, and so you put a master window switch in it.
But the likelihood, that's the one thing in the system that relates to everything, right? Yeah. Is that master window switch. So that's what I would be thinking. Curt, did you have any other comments?
No, I think that's where I'd go. But as long as the driver's window's working and he can get his hamburger at the drive-thru, he's
that's
in good
all
shape.
That's all that really matters.
Yeah.
I mean, you can deal with the other 3 being stuck, and especially it's the middle of summertime. I mean, who's rolling the window down right now?
Yeah, but if it's only the right rear, it looks really rough when you back through the drive-thru and crawl through the back seat to get your hamburger.
I have done that. I was desperate. I'm a cheeseburger fan. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for the call. We're going to go with John in Chandler on a 2010 Audi S4. John, you're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. What can I do for you?
Well, thanks, guys, for having us today. I love your show.
Thank you.
I've got a 2010 Audi S4, 6-speed manual, 48,000 miles, and I've noticed that it's getting harder and harder to get into first, second, and reverse, even though I put the clutch to the floor. So I'm wondering, is that an adjustment that can be done, or I don't notice the clutch spinning, or at higher revs, how you get into like 6th gear at 35 and then floor it. It's not slipping, but I just can't get it in the first and second anymore. It's having a really, really hard time.
Well, John, I think it's gonna be like the last guy. Just don't roll. Just don't use those gears. You can use the driver's window. You're fine as long as you got 3rd gear, 4th gear, 5th and 6th gear. That's 4 out of 6, right?
Yeah, but he's missing reverse.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I think what you have going on, John, is clutches fail in 2 ways. They either fail to connect, which is a slipping clutch, or they fail to disconnect. And you said, hey, I'm jamming my foot all the way down to the floor. So that tells me that, hey, we're because when I do have those issues with cars not going to reverse or first, and those are going to be generally the 2 most difficult gears to get into. So if that clutch is not working perfect, those are going to be the first 2 where the problem's going to show up. So I think we have a clutch disengagement problem. 2010 Audi, you said Audi, which sounds a little fancier, but I think it's just a clutch. There's no adjustment there. It's a hydraulic system, so something going on there.
Yeah, most of the time them clutches start to separate a little bit, and you get drag that you just can't get enough movement on the pressure plate to overcome.
Well, one of the things that you guys can do is you can send emails to Bumper to Bumper Radio, and you can email questions that we will talk about on air. And, a lot of people send us questions like, hey, how do I find a good shop and who can I trust? Any shop you're going to find at Bumper to Bumper Radio will be able to take care of you. So if you go into the shop finder, you just put in your zip code, you're going to find a shop that's going to be great. They wouldn't be on that list if they couldn't take care of you. And the thing about a great shop is if it's something they don't work on, they'll tell you it's something they don't work on, and that's kind of the ethic that I like to see. They don't get in over their head. We see these complaints, Curt, down at the Better Business Bureau, and most of the time it's somebody working on something they shouldn't have been working on. So one of the things about being honest and straightforward is not getting into something you're not qualified to work on. So anyhow, but we've got an email on a 2007 Ford Mustang, and everything works great. When they turn the AC on, the engine starts warming up. And it's that time of year. You said this week you did a condenser fan, Eric. You said you also did a radiator. What were the first things that came to your mind when I mentioned that email to you?
Those are exactly either condenser fans running at half speed or something, because that's a single fan on that one, or the radiator's half restricted or something, and with the added heat of the AC being on, it's just not enough to keep the car cool.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We're going to be right back. We've got time for maybe 1 or 2 more phone calls at 602-277-5827. You're listening to Bumper Radio.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Hi, Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. Have you been thinking maybe the time is right to move, but you're not sure if you have enough equity in your home or if it really is a good time? Well, home values have increased significantly over the past few years, and interest rates are still historically low. For how long? No one knows. But for every 1% increase in the interest rate, the result is about a 10% loss in purchasing power. So it might be a really great time to sell your home and either upsize or downsize to a new home while the interest rates are still low. Contact me via my website at lisareneehenry.com or direct at 480-330-9530 for a no-obligation market valuation on your home and to hear about our global online marketing plan designed to sell your home quickly for top dollar. Again, that's lisareneehenry.com, 480-330-9530. Come experience the difference a truly customer-focused real estate agent can make.
2 great golf courses, 1 convenient location. Camelback Golf Club invites you to come enjoy both this summer with a special offer. When you play the world-renowned Herds and Fry design Ambiente course, with desert landscaping and native grasses, you'll receive a bounce back for the Valley favorite Padre course with its lush, shaded fairways and immaculate greens for a special member guest rate of just $29. For information or tee times, call 480-596-7050 or visit camelbackgolf.com. Camelback Golf Club. Come play like a member.
This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. My co-host Matt Allen from Virginia Auto Service is off today. So we've got the guys from Curt's Auto Repair, which is a fantastic auto repair shop in North Phoenix, specifically cross streets. The easiest ones I can mention are I-17 and Bell. And if there's, you guys pretty much work on all makes and models. Not a whole lot of vintage stuff. I mean, you can, but you guys, you go toward newer models.
Yeah, we try to go toward newer models. Matter of fact, I'm working on sending all my vintage to you, Dave.
I know. Curt brought me this week. He brought me a beautiful Ford Bronco. Is that thing a 77?
78.
78. Well, he dropped it off, and I told him, hey, when do you bring that Bronco by? Because it disappeared. I mean, it's perfect. It's like 40,000 original miles or something like that.
I had to give it to you because we'd already put the headers and the exhaust on it, and you couldn't get the tranny out.
Made it twice as hard to work on. Thanks a lot, Curt.
You're welcome.
We're going to go with Heidi in Tempe on a 2001 Jeep Wrangler. Hey, how can we help you, Heidi? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Thank you. Love your show. I'm having an issue with my steering column. The power steering had gone out completely to the right, but it was okay to the left. So I put power steering fluid in. I put about a quart in, and everything was fine. But 2 days later, it was the power was there, but it was squeaking.
Are you saying it turns one way okay, but not to the other direction?
Well, I got it to turn both directions now, but it's still making a noise. The noise went away for a little bit, for like 2 days.
Okay.
Now it turns, but it's squeaking, and I think it's leaking the fluid. And if I were to have to replace the power steering, is that a big deal?
Yeah, let me tell you what's going on there. So anytime you have a hydraulic pump that's low on fluid, it's going to whine. So any of you guys driving vehicles out there, if you hear that when you turn the steering wheel, and on the way back, that's a pump cavitating.
Or it's a Ford.
Or it's a Ford. Ford they cavitated new on the dealership lot. I think they fixed that though. That's an old problem. Give them some credit. Come on. But so it sounds like your power steering is low on fluid. What do we have in that system? We got a power steering pump, which is bolted on the side of the engine, and it's driven by a drive belt, which is turned off the crankshaft. From there, we have a high-pressure power steering hose. That's a hose that runs down to the power steering box down on the frame where it connects to the steering linkage. So we'll see leaks at the pump itself. We'll see leaks at the power steering hose. And then we'll see leaks at the steering box down below. That's the actual gear that's driven by that hydraulic pressure. And then there's a return hose, and those don't go bad as often because there's no pressure on them. They're dealing with half the stuff. So I think she's just got a big leak going on.
She got a big one.
Big leak, and you're just going to have to find out what the leak is, and if it's, some of it, if it's just a gearbox can be kind of an expensive.
You can
spend some money on that.
Yeah.
Power steering hose, high-pressure hose, not as bad, and if it's a return hose, much better. Mm-hmm. So that's how it's going to go. But if you're looking for a good shop, you're in Tempe. You've got bumpertobumperradio.com. You can find GoodWorks Auto Repair. By the way, we had a call earlier on that Prius. Call Glenn over at GoodWorks. They work on Priuses all the time. Yeah. He's an authority on that. At least he tells me that. No, he really is. He knows what he's doing. So we are going to go to Jim in Mesa on a 2001 Ford Taurus. How can we help you, Jim? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yes, my son was driving the car yesterday, and the steering wheel, we can't turn the ignition switch on anymore.
You kind of cut out there. You said the steering what?
We can't get the car started again. When we put the key in there to turn it to start the car, the steering wheel is locked, but we can't get the ignition switch to turn.
Okay, so it's kind of like it's locked out, like the steering wheel's locked?
Yes.
Okay, any ideas, Eric?
Well, I guess one or two things. If it's tucked up against a curb or something, you're going to have to yank on that steering wheel to get that to unlock that mechanism, because a solid metal bar against a metal sleeve is really hard to move if they're locked tight. The only other thing would be, and this is more common on GMs, is the cylinder housing itself bound up and it just won't turn the key. It's just, you try to jiggle the steering wheel as best as you can and turn the key at the same time is all I can say at this point.
So is he gonna break anything? He gets in there and just muscles that steering wheel one way or the other to try and get that thing unlocked?
No.
I would go try that, Jim, first. Go out there and go tugging on the steering wheel and see if you can get that, wiggle that key at the same time, see if you can free that up. If not, you're going to have to get it into a shop. You know, if it's a lock cylinder, any shop can fix that. Also, sometimes a locksmith is, save you a tow bill if he can come out and take a look at that. So thanks for the call. Looks like we got time for maybe one more, and then Saul and Jeff, I'm going to catch you after air. Off air, we're going to go with Joyce in Glendale on a 2006 Nissan. What can we help you with, Joyce? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yes, I have a 2006 Nissan, and for about a year now, I go to turn it on, and it doesn't turn. The second turn, it cranks. It turns on most of the time. I talked to a mechanic. I talked to my brother. They said, try the fuel cleaner, which I did. And then I went to my mechanic, a different mechanic, and he didn't know what it was either. It's been going on for a year. I don't know if it's anything to worry about or just think of it as a two-crank car.
Yeah, so how often do you drive that car? Do you drive it 7 days a week?
Pretty much. I might take a day off.
Do you, it happens every time you go to start it?
I'm going to say probably about 85 to 90% of the time.
Okay, so pretty common. So you turn the key. Do you hear the starter running? Does it go een, 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 een? Does it make any noise like that?
Yeah, it tries to start.
But
it's like it needs gas or something.
Okay.
And then it doesn't start, and I have to do it again.
Well, the nice thing is it's a pretty consistent problem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it was in my shop, the things, what would be the things you'd be looking at?
Well, you'd be looking at fuel and spark. That's where you're going to be checking. See if you got your sensor codes, and you're gonna check, make sure you get your electrical ignition circuits working. But more than likely, with it doing it, I think the very first thing all of us would do would be to fire it up, turn it on, count to 3, turn it off, count to 3, and then try to start it the next time, because it sounds like it's not pressurizing the fuel system right.
And that's something we all try, right? I mean, we have all these technicians. There's things that we do, that we don't even think we're doing them. But when I go in and I'm looking at the power window, we were talking about power windows earlier. I hit the switch, and if I want to see the thing moving or not moving, well, do I have a motor that's working? I look at the dome light to see when I'm hitting that switch, is that dome light dimming out? Like, is there juice going to the motor? And so that's one of the things that all the little odds and ends of stuff that we look at to see to figure out a car. Where other people, they got to scratch their head, for a while. I remember as a kid when I used to try and fix my car myself, and then I'd have to tow it, behind another vehicle to a shop so they could fix it for real. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Thanks, Bree, for answering the phones and running the show. If you're looking for a friendly, honest, competent shop like Curt's Auto Repair, you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com. While you're there, be sure to join the Bumper to Bumper family on Facebook. Remember never to text and drive. And earlier I said friendly, honest, and the other thing I said was competent. There's a lot of honest, friendly people in this business, but only half of us are all that competent.
You're very kind, Dave.
So anyway, competence is important. We'll see you next week.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Curt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and Bumper to Bumper Radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Curt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurtz.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Bunker to Bunker the Golf Show's famous two-person scramble tour continues with our next stop on Saturday, July 18th at the spectacular Ambiente Golf Course at the Camelback Golf Club and the luxurious J.W. Marriott Camelback Inn Resort and Spa, benefiting the Boys and Girls Club of Metro Phoenix. The tournament includes golf, lunch, awards, a raffle, and even a bounce-back coupon for a member rate of golf. all for just $84, and check out the hotel rates starting at $99 per night. Space is limited. Register today. Go to bunkergolf.com for details.
Join us for everything automotive on Bumper to Bumper Radio with Dave Riccio and Matt Allen, the KTAR Car Guys, every Saturday 11 to noon on KTAR News, 92.3 FM.
Spring is here, but big bad summer's just around the corner. Join us this Saturday for the top 10 tips to prepare your car for the heat.
And remember, 24/7, there's bumpertobumperradio.com. It's